Geometry. This is the study of nature, of the codes, the mathematical codes behind physical reality. So today we're going to be going deep into geometry and the true esoteric internal geometry, the geometry that no one really talks about, and how geometry relates to human consciousness. So essentially, what we must understand when it comes to geometry, the basics of geometry is everything is vibration. And this vibration is vibrating on a certain frequency. And this certain frequency creates a geometric shape, which is why in nature we see all of these different geometric shapes. All matter takes form in shapes. So if we put sand on a plate and we vibrate the plate on a specific frequency, we see that the sand goes into specific geometric shapes and patterns. So essentially, matter is energy condensed. It's energy vibrating on a low frequency, vibrating at a certain frequency. So matter is condensed energy. And each geometric shape is manifesting and showing a specific energy. Some shapes carry more energies than others. For example, the cube is what traps energy. A square is what traps energy. So geometry and the flowers are basically how energy manifests itself into physical matter. We are in a world made out of energy or light. Light is energy. So everything is vibration, everything is frequency, and everything is energy. Even the words, each atom in our body, everything. So everything in nature has these mathematical, energetic codes. So geometry is basically the study of nature and the shapes that are in nature and their energetic principles. Because like I said, matter is energy. So this is what we call cymatics, when we place water in a petri dish and we shine light on top and we vibrate the water. And we can capture, this creates certain patterns. Each frequency, like you see here, has its own pattern. So what we are seeing here in the physical plane is essentially energy condensed into physical reality. We see it in the turtle. We see it in every single form in nature. Now, external geometry and normal geometry, we normally get taught that this is God's way of creating physical reality, which is essentially true. However, it's far more deeper than that. Far, far, far more deeper. Okay, so what geometry truly is, it's not God's codes to reality. What we must understand is what the brain truly is. And what we must understand is that we are not in the world. We are not in the universe. The universe is us ourselves, and the world is produced by our brain itself. Okay? So the way you must understand how the brain works, so what you visually see, so geometry is to do with what we visually see. And what we visually see is heavily connected with our eyes, which are an extension of the brain. The eyes are the brain. And essentially how we see is energy enters the eyes, and each eye goes to the optic nerve, and this energy is transferred into electricity, which travels to the back of the brain, to the visual cortex of our brain. And this is where the image is produced, what we see. Therefore, the world outside of us is truly inside of us. It's a projection from within the brain. The brain is an energy condenser, a decelerator, an energy decelerator. Everything outside of us is basically formless energy. It is formless energy vibrating at a certain frequency. So what the brain is, it's sucking in this energy, this light, and turning that frequency, that code, that light code, into a physical reality. It's condensing the energy and turning it into a visual image inside of the brain. Therefore, everything outside of you is not what it looks like. Everything outside of you is basically energy, infinite energy. And our brain is condensing this into a physical reality and projecting it outwardly, which you experience your visual field. Okay? And the ancients knew this. So this is basically called the sigil of Lucifer. Lucifer is known as the light bringer. Lucifer in Latin means to bring the light. This is the sigil of Lucifer, which shows the visual field and the brain. We also see this in the Google Play symbol. It's a powerful symbol showing you the visual field, which is basically a symbol that tells you that reality is inside of the brain. The brain is what produces reality, but consciousness is not produced in the brain. The brain is essentially a consciousness downloader. It's a computer, and it's a reality simulator. The body is a simulation of physical reality. You are inside of the body experiencing the body simulation. The body produces this reality. It's a piece of technology. So Lucifer is to bring the light. Lucifer is the light being produced in our brains. Okay? So this is why they say Lucifer can tempt you. Lucifer can be the devil, because it represents physicality. It represents the false light. Lucifer can trick you because it represents the physical world can trick who you truly are. So now that you understand how the brain is basically an energy decelerator and it creates and simulates a reality to your consciousness, you are no longer a person in a universe. You are the universe itself experiencing itself. Therefore, geometry is heavily linked in with the brain. Geometry is essentially how your brain and how your eyes decode energy. So what you are seeing is the mathematical codes of your brain creating reality. So what they teach you is the external is that geometry is God's way of creating this world, and these are the mathematical codes God's created. But now I'm telling you the internal. This is the truth. Geometry is how your brain mathematically condenses energy and light into a physical reality. So therefore, your brain is a computer program. So now geometry is nothing outside of you. Geometry is not something created by something else. It's created by your brain. Your brain produces these patterns through mathematical codes by breaking down energy into physical reality. And this is why you see geometry in everything around you. This completely changes your view on geometry. It's in your ear, it's in your face, it's in everything. Geometry is everything. Okay? So now that you understand this, now, as we were talking about the visual field earlier, the ancients knew about this. The ancient Egyptians knew about this. We can see this symbolism inside of the casket, the Egyptian casket. See, this crossover represents the visual field. This represents the back of the brain. This is the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere. And now some of the most simplest teachings in geometry is that straight lines are masculine and curved lines are feminine. And we even see this in the human body. The feminine human body is curvy and the masculine human body is liney. And even with the genital reproductive area, we have a line and a curve, 0 and 1, the binary code of all creation, 0 and 1, because that's basically all that exists. Nothingness and one, nothingness and God, nothingness and consciousness. That's all that exists. Now that I've told you that, the basics of geometry and the line and the curve and the feminine and the masculine, what do we have here? You see this stick here? This is a curve. And what's the right hemisphere? The right hemisphere is the feminine, the feminine energy, the feminine aspect of our brain. Then we have a straight line. This is straight lines. Now this represents the left brain. So the Egyptians are showing you the left masculine brain and the right feminine brain because of the curve and the straight line. And this is the visual field, the crossover. So there's a crossover in the brain. The left eye is connected to the right brain. The right eye is connected to the left brain. Okay, so the left eye is connected to the right brain. The right eye is connected to the left brain. The solar and the lunar. So, like I said, everything outside of you is basically energy. Your body is basically a holographic avatar, condensed energy produced by your brain. There's nothing actually outside of you. Your 5 senses are electrical threads of light. And when you touch something, this is basically electrical signals in your nervous system, which are reporting back to the brain. Therefore, what you touch is actually, you're not touching. The feeling that you feel when you touch something is not the true feeling. That's your nervous system you're feeling. You're feeling your nervous system in the brain. It's electrical signals to your brain. So the 5 senses do not decode, well, what you're experiencing as the 5 senses is not outside of you. This is your brain interpreting electrical signals. You don't experience the world, you experience your nervous system and your brain. The nervous system is an extension of the brain. So this is the truth. This is not woo-woo spirituality. This is true consciousness science. But I'm teaching you here. Okay? So nothing is truly outside of you. It is a universe. You yourself are the universe, the fabric of the universe itself. The only thing that exists outside of you is essentially energy. That is it. And your body and your brain condenses this energy into reality. So when we look into architecture, why is architecture, the ancient architecture, so important? Because what did I tell you at the beginning? Shapes and physical matter is condensed energy. Each shape holds specific energy. Some shapes hold more energy, emit more energy. Some shapes condense energy. Some shapes transfer energy. Each shape, each geometric shape has an energetic principle because matter is essentially energy. So when we look into cathedrals and the ancient buildings, they were filled with geometric patterns, geometric shapes, because they understood the energy principle. Architecture is basically solid energy. It's physical energy. If we create this pattern here is an energy code. And if you stand next to it, you're going to gain that energy. It's going to be imprinted on your body. So essentially, they filled their buildings with high energy geometric shapes. Points, triangles, pyramids are very, very energetic. This is why you have crystal pyramids made, orgonite pyramids. They're always in pyramid shapes. That's why the Egyptians built in pyramids, because pyramids hold high energy. They emit high energy. So this is why you see all these different geometric patterns. Okay? So in the real reality, in the energetic plane, this building would basically look like this. Lines and grids of energy. Okay? This is what it would look like in the energetic plane. A blueprint of the energy body. So, as you see here, these are the different frequencies in a petri dish, of water in a petri dish. And you can see they are specifically aligned up with these specific patterns. You can see geometry even within geometry. It's fractal. So essentially, when you would stand inside of these buildings, they would imprint the energy of the building in your body. Because your body is healed through energy. You have an electromagnetic field around your body. So by creating buildings with geometric patterns, we are essentially increasing the energy of the building, because the building itself is energy. Okay? So when we fill it with geometric patterns, We're increasing the energy. We're giving it a certain energetic imprint. So when you stand inside of that building, you're being imprinted with that energy. Okay? So especially with these windows, these stained glass windows. Well, why are they stained glass? Well, color is frequency. So when you have all of these different colors, and not only were they just painted, some of these colors are specific gemstones, crystals, natural stones, which all hold energetic principles. Each crystal is vibrating on a certain frequency. Wood has its own frequency. Metal has its own frequency. What you must understand is that everything in nature is not just a piece of matter. It's vibrating. The atoms of wood are vibrating on a certain level, which give it a certain energetic principle. Each crystal is vibrating. The atoms of the crystal are vibrating on a certain frequency, which give it a certain energetic principle, quality. So each thing, this is why the ancients were obsessed with natural stones, natural things, crystals, natural metals, and they wore different metals, different things like copper on their bodies, because they understood the atoms of these natural things are vibrating, which give certain qualities to you if you wear them. So you're not wearing it, you're basically putting that frequency onto your body, because they understood this is energy. If I put copper on my body, I'm not putting copper on the body, I'm putting the frequency and the energy of the atoms onto my skin, and that frequency of them atoms are going to vibrate my skin with that frequency and heal my body. So this is why this is so important. So each building is an energetic code. Okay, so when you stand in these buildings, it can heal your body. This is why when people walk into these ancient churches, they feel like they've met God. They feel a certain way. They feel so amazing when they enter these churches. They feel holy, for example. It's not because God's there. It's not because these man in the sky dwells in these holy places. It's because the energy of these buildings affect our consciousness. They increase your energy. They raise your vibration. They heal your body. They heal your cells. They imprint the water in your body, especially with these stained glass windows. Like I went a bit on a tangent there, but these stained glass windows were encoded. Well, they use different gemstones, different lights, different colors. And when the sun would shine through this window, well, what's the sun? The sun is light. Light is energy. The sun's light would go through this filter of the window, of the crystals and the different gemstones and the different colors, and the sun's light would be encoded, imprinted with these crystals, with these colors and these natural glasses which have healing energetic principles. And when you are inside that building, the sun's encoded energy of the window would be imprinted into your body, into your energy field, and it will heal your energy field, and it would heal your body, your cells on a cellular level. Because your body is what? 60 to 70 to 80, some people say 80% water. And water is encoded with vibration. If you say certain things into water, it gives it a specific geometric pattern, like I broke down in the beginning. If you say love to a water and then freeze it, it will go to this. If you say hate, it will go to a distorted pattern. So when you are in these buildings, you're being imprinted by the energetic codes of these buildings, the energetic principles of the windows, of the structure itself. The ancients never used to build in squares. Their buildings, their insides were never square rooms, because they understood squares trap energy. They always had pointed roofs so energy can escape. So there's many little things that we need to look into geometry. For example, when you see magicians, when you look at ancient magic, why do they stand in circles with different geometric patterns? They use different geometric shapes. Why? Because shapes are energy. They hold specific energy. So when the magician stands in a circle with a pentacle, they're working with the energy of that pentacle. You can work with different energies based upon the different geometric shapes that you draw. And you can use this in your structure, in your architecture, in your work, and it can influence everything. So this is the true geometry. I hope you gained a deeper understanding on geometry and how it relates with you and your consciousness. Like I said earlier, your brain produces geometry. It's basically how your brain decodes energy. It's not God, how God creates this reality. And no, you're in this reality. You are the reality itself. Your body produces the reality. Therefore, geometry is one with you. So therefore, if I play with the geometry of the buildings, for example, like the government have, everything's in squares. If you look outside, everything's a square, everything's a rectangle. You go to a city, every window is a rectangle, every building is a rectangle. You live in a box room, everything is boxed and squared off in this reality, in this modern society. Why? Because they're trapping energy. The cube is the most simple geometric shape, which basically condenses energy and it traps energy. And if you subconsciously see squares all the time, your phone's a square, your TV screen, everything's a square, your keyboard, your desk. Go and look at the ancients. They never used to build in squares and cubes. And if you go into nature, you'll never see squares and cubes. Nature doesn't create squares and cubes. Everything in the modern society is squares and cubes to simple your consciousness down, to dumb your brain down. So the ancients built very, very complex structures. Why? Because they understood what we see affects our brains, because our brains decodes reality and creates reality. If you see a sophisticated building, this is going to give you a sophisticated mind and raise your IQ levels over time, subconsciously. I'm not saying if you look at this building, you're going to become smart. I'm saying if every single building in your environment, ment is mind, mental, every single building in your environment was this complex and complicated, it would increase your IQ on a subconscious level. It'd make you more complex, make you more intelligent. So they've dumbed everything down. They've dulled everything down. Look at everything. Everything is being dulled down. So anyways, I hope you all gained a better understanding on this. If you want to gain more occult knowledge and esoteric knowledge, make sure to read the Book of Wisdom Volume 2. If you're inside the university, you can get this book for free. Go to the general chat area and follow the instructions and you can order yours for free. Truly life-changing stuff. Because the issue is with the world is that no one really understands who they are, what they are, and why we are here. That is the issue for people's depression, for people's wrongdoings. They don't understand who they are, what their emotions are, what their mind is, what their body is, what reality is. This book gives you that. This book gives you the sense of understanding, the sense of well-being that will give you a better life because you understand life and what life is. And if you truly want to take your studies to the next level, we have the Ethereal University. This is the place for truth seekers where you can connect with like-minded people so you don't have to feel insane, because not many people think this way. I've been there when you wake up and not many people around you are thinking the same way and you start to feel a bit insane and you can't really talk to people about these things. That's why I created this, so you can connect with people and learn at the same time and become the best version of yourself by understanding truth and knowledge. If you join, you'll gain access to free live calls every single week, every single Saturday morning. We do live calls. You can ask me questions and all sorts. So make sure to leave a like and a comment, and thank you all for tapping in. As above, so below. This is one of the most crucial teachings within esotericism, occultism, or what we like to call it today, spirituality. I don't like calling it spirituality because it's not spirituality. I teach human consciousness. I teach the science of you and your consciousness alone and your being. And in order to fully understand you and this world around you, you must understand this number one principle of as above, so below. There is many misconceptions of this, and there is many simple teachings of this. But I'm going to break it down today from the most simplest to the most complex, and you will see the connections between all things. This is the most important lesson you could ever learn, and I'm going to teach it you today. So what you must understand is, with the term as above, so below, it applies with everything you see in this world and about yourself. We have something called the macro, which means the bigger scale. On the bigger scale, we have the whole earth. If we look down from the sky on top of rivers, this is what we see. We see this tree pattern. Then on a smaller scale, we see trees have the same pattern. Then we look even closer. We're going smaller and smaller into the leaves of the tree. We see the same pattern. Then we go even more micro into the human brain and look at the human brain cells, and we see the same pattern. This is proof this is a fractal universe, and everything is in the micro is reflected in the macro. As above, so below. As within, so without. On the macro is a reflection of the micro. So now that you understand this, we can go a bit further. A yearly cycle of spring, summer, fall, winter is a macro. A micro is a daily cycle. So a day is a mini year. The summer is the midday. Autumn is the evening. Night is the winter. And spring is the morning. This is a macro, a reflection. We have a miniature cycle of the zodiac every single day. And this cycle is also reflecting the cycle of life and death. We live, we are born, which is the spring. We live, which is the summer. We then age, which is the autumn. And then we die, which is the winter. And then we are reborn again. This is the cycle of life and death. And you do this every single day. You see, death is a macrocosm of sleep. This is why we say sleep is the cousin of death. Because you die every single night. You do this process of life and death every single day. As above, so below. What's in the micro is in the macro. So when you go to sleep, you are essentially dying. And then in the morning when you wake up, you are then born again. This is a fractal cycle that we live in. Everything in this whole world is fractal. Everything applies to as above, so below. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have the day, we have the night. We have the life, we have the death. We have the conscious, we have sleep. As above, so below. We have the conscious mind, because now we're diving into as within, so without. As above, so below more refers to the external world. As within, so without is referring to your inner world and the outer world. What you must understand is about yourself. You exist in two realms. You're an individual. The dual nature of you exist in two realms at once. You have an inner world of your thought, emotion. This is the inner world that no one else can see but yourself. And you have an outer world with a physical body which everyone can see. So you exist in two worlds. You have the inner voice, you have the outer physical voice, which I'm speaking to you with now. But I also have an inner voice, which no one can hear, only but me. So you exist in the light and you exist in the darkness. The sun represents your external self, your physical, conscious mind. The moon represents your shadow self, the inner self, the psyche self, the spirit self. There is an as above, so below. The sun is within you. The moon is within you. Everything is within you. Now that you understand as above, so below, What is your body? Your body is a miniature earth. Let me repeat, your body is an earth. Your body is the earth. Okay? Because like I say many times in all of my videos, you are not in the world. The world is you. You are the universe. Your brain is a computer creating this reality. What you see with your eyes is produced in the back of the brain called the visual cortex. You don't look into the world, the brain produces the world. The body produces the world. When you touch something, you're not actually touching something. This is the electrical nervous system. When you touch something, what you feel is actually electrical signals on your nervous system reporting back to your brain. Therefore, when this body dies, you leave the earth because this body is the earth. Okay? As above, so below. You have the mental plane, the astral plane, the etheric plane, and the physical plane. This is essential for understanding reality and the teaching of as above, so below. Everything in this material plane began in the thinking mind. For example, the microphone I'm speaking into, the phone you're watching this video off, or the laptop or iPad. Where did this begin? It didn't begin in the factory. The first ever place this item begun was in the mind of an individual. The invisible realms of mind is where all physical things and physical items begun. Essentially, this physical plane is the effect of the thinking mind. This world is the world of effect. It's the world of outcomes. When you see something, it is already manifest. It is already being manifested. It is an effect. And in the effect of the cause, which is the thinking mind. Therefore, the mind creates thoughts, which is the mental plane. Then after thoughts creates imagination, which is the astral plane. These two are spiritual. They are non-physical. So spirit kind of means non-physical. Then you have the physical planes, the etheric and the physical plane. As above, so below. What happens in the mind is manifest on the physical plane. Like I said, the phone that you are holding, it was a thought, and then it brought down into a physical reality. As above, so below. You change the mind, you change your reality. Your environment, the word environment has ment in it because your environment is mental. So now that you understand this, so what is the world around you? The world around you was created by the mind of God. It was manifested through God's thought. So you are living in the mind of God. You are a thought in the mind of God. God thought you into existence. But like I said, we are all fractals. Everything is fractal. If God exists, this means that you are God, as above, so below. God created you through the thinking mind, and he gave you a thinking mind. So God created the macrocosm. God created the macro, the whole world. He designed the whole world, the sun, the stars, the moving. He designed this. But then he gave you the thinking mind to design your own life and create your own life in his world. You are a microcosm of God's macrocosm. Just like God thought you into existence and the whole world into existence, you are a microcosm thinking your world, your reality into existence. You see this now? Everything is a reflection. Everything is a mirror. Everything is fractal. So in order for you to change your reality, you must change these higher planes. Your thought and imagination are the two key aspects of creating physical reality. Every object you see around you was begun in these higher planes of the non-physical, and they were brought out of spirit into physical matter through the thinking mind and physical action. So now we're going to get a bit deeper. The brain is not the mind. now that you understand, we have spirit and matter. As above, so below. You have a non-physical side of reality and a physical side of reality. The mind is the spiritual brain. The brain is a physical manifestation, a physical effect of the mind. The mind uses the brain to operate in the physical world, and it's the same with the heart. The soul manifests itself physically through the heart. The heart is a physical manifestation of the soul, of the emotion, thought and emotion, the mind and the soul, the brain and the heart, heaven and earth. So you have the inner world and the outer world, the spiritual, non-physical, and the physical. So essentially, we are all on this process of awakening, an expansion of our minds into new fields of thought, into new fields of awakening ourselves. Because essentially, we are born into this world. But you are born many, many times. You can be born physically and you can be born spiritually. Like I said, everything is fractal. So just like when the baby finds out that there is a world outside of its mother, what does the baby do? The baby seeks a way out of its mother, and then the baby is now born into a new world, a world outside of its mother's womb. It's the same with you and your spiritual process. As your mind becomes aware that there are other realities beyond your physical body, it then seeks a way out. And this is why you are probably watching my YouTube, because you are now on the path. Something within you has guided you to this path of knowledge, truth, enlightenment, and expanding your consciousness. And it is your soul who brought you here. Your soul speaks through emotion, a guidance. Emotion is the language of the soul. When you feel very bad, this is your soul telling you you're not in the right place. You're doing the wrong things. Because the soul is always unfolding its purpose, which is expansion and learning. That is it. The mastery of the self and the learning of the mind is the only thing that counts in the end after this life. So you are on a journey of expansion, of learning, creating, and spiritual rebirth. As above, so below. What does this body tell you? When I see someone overweight, I don't see the overweight. I don't see the body. I see the mind. I see an undisciplined mind. I see a mind that lacks self-control. I see a mind that seeks external validation. That's what I see when I see an overweight person. I don't see his body. I see the result of his mind. Because what does the Bible tell you? You shall know them by their fruits. It's the same saying as above, so below. You shall know them by their fruit. The fruit is their manifestation. Your body is a direct correlation and manifestation of your mind. Your inner world projects your outer world. As within, so without. As above, so below. Now, what do you see when you see this man's body? I see discipline. I see strength, mental strength, not physical strength. I see mental resilience of pain. Because all of this man's mental energy has been manifested physically within his muscle. This body is a direct manifestation of this man's mind's pain and suffering. And it shows discipline. This is why people instantly respect you if you are in shape. You walk into a room and you are in shape, people will instantly give you respect because they know that you are mentally disciplined. The body is a reflection of your inner world, and it's the same with your friends, your family, your connections with people. If you think about yourself very negatively all the time, and you don't have a good connection with yourself, you don't have a connection with your true self, this will manifest into every single relationship you have in your life. If you don't have a good relationship with your inner self, you don't have a good relationship with the people and the friends around you. Because as within, so without. If you think negative about yourself, you will only pick up the negative in other people. If I think very highly of myself and I think very happy and good things about myself, I will then see the good things in other people. Because it's as above, so below. As the inner world is, so is the outer world. It's the same with your life circumstances. Your life is a direct correlation of every thought you thought in the past. If you possess millions of pounds, millions of dollars, this is because you have thought this into physical reality. You live the life you are deserved. You live the life that you manifest through your thought. If you live a very poor life, this is a reflection of your mind. This is a reflection of what you have thought into physical existence. Because like I said, everything begins in the mind, as above, so below. And this is even present within the body. So where is the head? The head is at the very top of the body. And where does all manifestation begin? In the mind. That's where the mind is, in the head. And then the thoughts we think travel down the body into the heart, which is the emotion. Every thought we think is in the emotion. Every thought we think creates an emotion. This emotion then drives the action. Where does the action come from? The feet, because the feet move our body. We move with our feet to take action. Our hands. You see, so the body is even a micro I can't even say it. Reflection of the order of manifestation. This blew my mind when I figured this out. You see, the head, the thoughts begin here. This is the beginning of all manifestation. Then it comes down to the heart. This is the emotion. Then you take the action. The thought and emotion then sparks the action, which is taken with the hands and the feet. And where's the lowest point on the body? The feet, and that's touching the physical earth. So the head is where the thought is, the non-physical, and the lowest point on the body, which is touching the physical earth. So the head represents spirit, the feet represent matter, spirit and matter. Your room, if I walk into your room and I see a messy room, I don't see the room, I see a messy mind. The room is a reflection of the mind. If you have a messy room, this is your mind. It's an externalization of your unsorted mind, undisciplined mind. So like I said, we are all God, and we must find the God self within us. And I teach all of this inside the Book of Wisdom, Volume 2. This is not just a book, this is a revolution. This is the beginning of a new age with this book. If you have read it, I congratulate you. You should feel very proud of yourself if you have an open mind. You should feel proud of yourself for watching these videos, because not many people have an open mind. Remember this, people. You are special if you're watching these videos. You have the mind. You have the ability to see through the illusion. And I take my hat off to you. You want to take this to the next step? Read the book. Or if you want to take it to the serious levels, join the university. The university, you gain access to every piece of my material that I've ever done, all of my books, all of my lectures that are hidden from YouTube, that are hidden from everywhere else, the lectures that give you real power. And if you feel alone on this journey, we have a conscious community where you can connect with like-minded individuals, because I've been there. I've been there when you feel lonely, because you feel like no one else is thinking the way you are feeling. You can't talk to people about these things because people just think you're crazy. That's why I put together this, so we can connect, so we can unite, so you can connect with people, so you don't feel crazy about thinking about this stuff, learning about this stuff. And if you truly want to level up your life, people, and take your studies serious, this is for you. We do live calls, we do lectures, There's a whole library filled with books you can read. It's the perfect place for the truth seeker. I thank you all for joining. Please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. Let me know any future videos you want me to make in the comments. Thank you all. Have an amazing day. You don't just have a physical body. You have a physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional body. Each one of these aspects are a body of its own. Body does not just refer to a physical substance. You have a mental body for thinking, an emotional body for your emotions, a spiritual body for your energy in your astral form, and a physical body to encapsulate all of these. Each 4 of these aspects are essential for the human experience and essential to balance. Now, today we're going to be syncing the 4 aspects of your consciousness with the 4 seasons and the 4 elements and how this ties into the Bible. So we have 4 physical elements. We have 5 elements in total, spirit being the most important, but spirit is pure invisible. We have 4 physical elements. We have air, fire, earth, water. Earth and water are feminine. Air and fire are masculine. Air and fire are active. Water and earth are passive. The air corresponds with the mental body of consciousness. This is where your intellect, this is where your communication, this is where your thoughts, intuition all comes from. This is the mental body of consciousness that allows you to think, allows you to process, figure things out, and have intellect and gain knowledge. This is your intellectual aspect of your consciousness, located in the head region. We have a fire nature, a spiritual nature. This is our astral body. Our astral body is all to do with the subconscious realms, the higher realms of consciousness. This is the body that allows us to be free from the physical body. Our spirit is more of our energy. Water is our emotional body. This is what allows us to feel things, that allows us to gain intuitive feelings of conscience. So emotion allows us to understand what is right and what is wrong. When we feel something bad, we know that this is wrong. When we feel something good, we know that we are doing good. Emotions are a creational force that allows us to feel certain things to bring them into existence. Our emotional body is a creational force and should not be reactive, and it should be controlled. Most actions are stemmed from emotions. Actions bring thought into physical existence. Emotions are the driving power. They are what drives your actions. The thought, then the emotion, then the action. Earth is your physical body. This is your physical state that allows you to take mind and emotion into action, into fruition, into physical matter. This is what your physical body allows your consciousness, your soul, to interact with the physical world and bring things into physical existence. The physical body, the physical world, is an outcome and an effect of the thinking mind. All physical substance comes from the thinking mind. The pen, the phone you're holding, the microphone I'm speaking into, all began as a thought in the thinking mind, then it was brought into physical reality. Earth is the most dense. So it goes in this order: body, emotions, spirit, mind. The higher you go up, the more lucid and fluidic it becomes. The lower you go down, the more dense and dull it becomes. Air is the mind, fire is the spirit, water is the emotion, Earth is the physical body. So this is why you are a microcosm. You have these four things within you. You contain of these four elements, which correspond to the four bodies of your consciousness, the four bodies of the soul. You are the soul. You are the spirit. So this is why in Theologians 4:17 it says, "Caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air." You don't meet God or the Lord in the physical air, in the clouds. This is clearly a parable. A human being cannot go up to the clouds and meet a mystical man in the clouds. This is obviously a parable, a metaphor. The air is your mind. You must raise your consciousness beyond the body, beyond the emotions, beyond the spirit, and enter in the mind during meditation, turning the mind inward to connect with the Lord. The Lord is the highest aspect of your consciousness, the one that exists beyond the physical body, beyond your emotions, beyond the thought. So you meet the Lord in the air, in the mind. The mind represents the air. This is why in America there's a saying called an airhead. You're an airhead. This means that you are stupid, or you don't think, or you have nothing in your mind. You have nothing in your head. When someone's very stupid, you call them an airhead, because air represents the mind. The air is elevated. The air is invisible. The mind is totally invisible to the human eyes. It is a metaphysical substance. In fact, it's not a substance at all. It's so fluidic. It's everywhere. The mind can be everywhere at all times. It can be anything. Nothing is impossible within the mind. Now, this is synced with the four seasons. The four seasons represent the four aspects of human consciousness, the four bodies of your consciousness, the four bodies of your soul. The sun is your soul, okay? And the sun travels around four seasons. Summer, when the sun is the most hottest point. Autumn, when the sun starts to move away from the hottest point. Things start to die. Then it goes to winter. This is when everything dies. This is when things enter in within itself. This is when darkness occurs. Then spring. This is the reignition of the sun. This is when the sun starts to bring back the warmth back to the summer. You have four seasons which correspond to the four bodies of consciousness. Fire is the spirit. This is when you are passionate. This is when you are taking action. This is when you are fiery. The sun is blazing. You're taking action. You're very passionate. You're very spirit. You're in the spirit. Autumn is water, emotion. This is when you start to become very reflecting. This is when you start to feel emotional. Because in autumn, there's lots of water. This represents the emotional body of consciousness. Winter is the mind. This is air. Winter, what happens in winter? Everything enters within itself. The leaves die. The trees die. Everything dies and goes within. This is the mind. The mind is the darkness, remember. You close your eyes to enter within the mind. The winter represents meditation. In the winter, what do people do? They stay inside of their house. They research more. They read more books. They become more intellectual. They think more in the winter because we are so we're stuck inside. So we're more reflective. We're thinking more. We're more communicative. We're more intellectual. In the spring, this represents the earth, the body. This is when we start to come out of the mind and we awaken to the body, and things start to grow again. The plants start to grow. The earth is growing again and reborn again. This is the body. This is when you become more active in the spring. And then the summer, back to the summer, we then take action on these thoughts and these thoughts that we gained over the winter. Essentially, this is just a massive cycle. And this is a daily cycle also. The nighttime is the winter. The morning is the spring. The midday is the summer. And the evening time is the autumn. This is a microcosm. We have four bodies of consciousness. You are the sun, you are the soul, And the soul has 4 bodies: summer, autumn, winter, spring. Emotion, air, body, spirit. Sorry, emotion, mind, body, spirit. So you are the soul. You are the pure essence of consciousness. The sun is your soul in the heart. And the seasons are inside of you because you are a microcosm. Okay? You are a microcosm. The word sun is son. The Latin word for sun is sol, which is soul or solo, because the sun is solo. It's on its own. You are the soul, and the soul has the 4 different bodies of consciousness. So, before we move on any further, if I've blown your mind, please, if you can, leave a like, a comment, a share, and a subscribe. Let me know what videos you want me to make in the future. Please drop a like, it definitely will help me. You are a microcosm of the macrocosm. Man is a miniature universe that goes through its own cycles. The seasons of the summer, winter, spring, and autumn do not occur merely outside of him, but within him as well. The summer is within you. You feel different in the summer. You feel different in the winter. You feel, depending on the body of consciousness, it's your soul's interacting with. So the sun in the sky is your soul inside, and the sun goes through these cycles, which is affecting your bodies of consciousness, because the cycles represent your bodies of consciousness. Now, this ties in with the Bible. This is why we have 4 Gospels. This is why Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are always seen with the 4 different zodiac sign animals or symbols. So you always see each one of the Gospels. If you just type in on Google Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, type in ancient paintings or pictures of them, and you will find these 4 zodiac signs are always standing with each one. Taurus, the bull; Leo, the lion; Scorpio, the eagle. An old symbol for Scorpio was the eagle, and a man for Aquarius. Here you see very, very ancient paintings and artwork. Here we see Matthew, the man, Aquarius. Here we see John, the Scorpio. The same here. We also see it on the tarot cards, on the world card. We see the 4 fixed zodiac signs. Here we see it as well. These are called the 4 fixed zodiac signs. Now, when we look at the zodiac, we're no longer looking at the sky, because what you must understand is as above, so below. What is above you is inside of you. What is above is what is below. What is outside of you is within you. The zodiac is inside of you. The zodiac revolves around the sun. The sun is your soul. These are different energies of your soul. Like I said earlier, the 4 seasons are the 4 bodies of your consciousness. And in each body of consciousness, you have these different energetic energies that you can work with. Okay, so this is the true astrology. This is the true astrology, the internal esoteric astrology. You can't find much information on this at all. Very hard to find. So what we're looking at are the 4 bodies of consciousness. Obviously, when you look in the middle of each, when we look in the middle of each season, spring, the middle of spring is Taurus. The middle of winter is Aquarius. The middle of autumn is Scorpio. The middle of summer is Leo. These 4 signs are known as the 4 fixed signs. Okay? Scorpio is fixed. It's the middle of autumn. Scorpio is a water sign, emotion. Aquarius is the air sign, the mind. Taurus is an earth sign, the body. Leo is a fire sign, the spirit. This is why we see Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John with the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac, which represent the 4 bodies of consciousness. Leo, the spirit, fire. Luke Taurus, earth, body. Matthew, Aquarius, air, mind. John, Scorpio, water, emotion. Each gospel is depicting Jesus and showing Jesus in each gospel. Each one of these gospels is showing and depicting Jesus according to the different body of consciousness. In John, this is when Jesus starts to turn water into wine. Water is emotion, wine is transmuted emotion. This is when he does miracles with his emotions, water into wine. Aquarius, which is Matthew, air, the mind. Inside of the Gospel of Matthew, this depicts Jesus as an intellectual person, a person who's communicating and using his mind, his mental body a lot inside of the Gospel of Matthew. Go and read it, and you will see this. Luke, Taurus, earth, the body. Luke shows and depicts Jesus according to the body of consciousness, the physical body. He shows Jesus as a human, being a human being, helping people physically and helping people's physical needs, like giving away food and doing all sorts of good things for other people. Leo, Mark, inside of the Gospel of Mark, this shows Jesus as a spiritual teacher, a passionate person who is taking action. Each gospel is showing Jesus according to the different body of consciousness, and Jesus represents you, the Son. That's why it's called the Son of God, the light of the world. Jesus represents your soul, and your soul has these four gospels, the four bodies of consciousness, the four fixed signs, the four elements and the four seasons. These things all correspond to your consciousness. So this is Leonardo da Vinci showing you the exact same thing. Jesus is the I am, the Son, the soul, in the middle, on his own. Luke, spring, earth, body. There are 3 people in each group. There are 4 groups and there are 3 people in each group. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Fall, winter, summer, spring. These are according to the 4 bodies of consciousness. Here we see Aries, which rules the head region. He's on the head of the table. Gemini, he's holding up the 2 hands because Gemini rules the 2 hands, the 2 arms. Gemini is the 2 twins, which is the 2 arms and 2 hands, and the 2 lungs. Here we see the beginning of summer, which is Cancer. You see the big knife here? Cancer, him here, this grey-haired guy, holding a knife for the crab. Cancer, they pinch. You have a knife, symbolizing the crab. Leo, the middle of summer, showing dominance. The sun is very dominant. He's got his elbow on the table, showing dominance. Virgo has no Adam's apple. Cancer here is pointing at this woman's neck, saying there's no Adam's apple. This is Virgo, the virgin, the only woman. Jesus, the sun. This is Libra, the balancing. He's holding his arms out, balanced, showing the balancing of the sun, because when the sun enters Libra, the sun is balanced between winter and summer. So it's balanced. This is all astrology, but this is internal. Okay? This is Ezekiel's vision. Ezekiel had a vision in the Bible, and he saw the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. The eagle, Scorpio, the ox is Taurus, the lion is Leo, and the man is Aquarius. He saw the throne of God, and he saw the different bodies of consciousness. This is all symbolic for the different bodies of your soul. So when we look at the zodiac, we are actually looking at a map and the energies of our soul, and the energies of our bodies, and the energies of our consciousness. This is what we are looking at. Each zodiac is an aspect of our consciousness and an energy that we can work with and that we must purify. Balance and purification is essential. Imagine playing a brand new video game. Let's say a brand new video game came out and you had to play it. What happens when you play that game? You don't know the controls. You cause chaos in that game. You can't really run properly. You can't do anything properly. You're getting you're getting destroyed by other people who are playing that game. It's the same with your physical body. When you are born, you must learn how to play the game. You must learn how to balance the mind, learn how to balance the spirit, the emotions, and the physical body. We must balance and purify each body of our consciousness. We must look after our physical body with our physical health by eating physical, electrical food like fruits and veg. We must look after our minds by being conscious of what enters our eyes, enters our ears, enters everything. Whatever enters our five senses is affecting our mind, our mental health, our environment, mental. We need to look after our thoughts, control our thoughts by purifying our thoughts, only positive thoughts. Then we must purify our emotions, feeling only gratitude and love and not feeling these negative, dull emotions. Then we must look after our spiritual body through meditation and looking after our spirit. But remember, when we look after our mind, it all begins in the mind. Each body of consciousness is interlocked with the other. If you have an unhealthy body, you have an unhealthy mind, spirit, and emotions. If you have an unhealthy mind, you have an unhealthy body, spirit, and emotions. If you have an unhealthy emotions, you have an unhealthy spirit, mind, and physical body. They're all interlocked. You must balance each one of them. Look after your physical body, look after your thoughts, look after your emotions, look after your spirit. But remember, the mind is the most powerful one. It's mind over matter. Once we look after the mind, because once we start to control our minds and control every thought we think, this will then turn into discipline in our physical body. Because once we learn how to discipline the mind, we learn how to discipline what we eat, we learn how to discipline what we feel, we learn how to discipline our spirit. This is all interlocked, but work on the mind first. Work on the mind first. All of this knowledge is inside of the brand new Book of Wisdom, Volume 2. This is a revolution of human consciousness. If you've read it, please leave a review down below. If you've read Volume 1, leave a review down below. This is the next revolution. I don't see this information anywhere. This is the next revolution of human consciousness. And of course, if you are serious about this and you truly want to gain enlightenment and join an amazing community where you can connect with me on live calls, lectures, the Manifestation Mastery course, you can gain access to my library with over 45 PDFs plus my books. And if you do join the university, you can order a Volume 2 free of charge. All you have to do is to pay for shipping. If you truly take your knowledge serious and you want to take advantage of life, join the university. This is where truth seekers belong. Just want to say thank you all. Please leave a comment. Please leave a like. It's going to help me a lot spread this knowledge to the world. And yeah, share this with a friend and subscribe. Thank you all. People, how are you all doing? It's Revival of Wisdom, and today we're going to be talking about your birth certificates and how we are slaves to a system and how they have trapped us into this system. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand about this system is there are two types of laws. You have the law of water, which is Admiralty law, and the law of the land. So the Admiralty law is the law of water, and this is what money is. Money is water. This is why we say liquidity, currency, the current. A current is water, something moving through something. Cash flow. And this is why banks are called banks, because a river bank is on either side of the water and it directs the currency. You see? So money is water. And as you can see here, Ripple, the cryptocurrency, Ripple, water Ripple, and they're building a bridge over water, overseas, international banking with cryptocurrency. So money is water, and this has specific laws about water, but water is the same everywhere, you see. What the difference is with the law of the land is that you can have different laws in different lands. I can't do certain things in the UK that people can do in America, for example. You see, that's the law of the land, but the law of water is the same, because water is everywhere. Now, this is very important to understand when it comes to, these birth certificates. So, Pope Gregory, this is where we're going to start off. Pope Gregory in 1582 took the Orthodox Eastern sunrise calendar and changed it to his own Gregorian timeline, not a calendar, a timeline. This timeline was copyrighted by Pope Gregory under the name of the Vatican. So the Vatican owns the timeline that we are using today, 2023. They own it. They own the title of this Gregorian calendar. Okay? Therefore, anyone who is born under this copyrighted timeline, not calendar, they are subjected to Rome, because Rome owns the timeline. They have a patent, a copyright for that timeline. What is on our birth certificates? That timeline. We are born underneath, we are subjected to the Vatican. This is why all birth certificates go to the Vatican. They own every single birth certificate. Okay? So when we use this timeline, we are subjecting ourselves to this timeline, okay, which the Vatican has a claim over. This calendar or timeline is set to sunset, not the sunrise, which is associated with death, darkness, and the moon, lunatics. You see, so this is a sunset calendar timeline. Okay, this is now, they've changed a couple things, right? They say that the new year is January the 1st. Okay? When we know this is in winter. January is winter, which is associated with darkness, death, the death of nature. So this is a death cult, people. These people are evil. They're so evil. The Vatican. And this is why we use April Fool's Day, because April is in Aries, and Aries is always the start of the zodiac. This is why Aries rules the head region. 12 zodiacs, 12 systems of the body. Each zodiac is associated with each part of the body, and this is why Aries is the head. Cerebrum. But we're not going to talk about it in this video. But yes, that is what April Fool's Day is. They're putting it in your face. April Fool's Day is the real start of the year, when the sun starts to rise again, when the risen Savior is resurrected, when it's born again. This is when the Jews celebrate the Passover. This is when the Christians celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, and they eat lamb. The Jews eat lamb because we're in Aries, the new year. The sun is now born again, our risen Savior, the light of the world. So yes, this is what April Fool's Day is. It's the first day of the year, which they changed. Pope Gregory changed. So you need to understand is that you are in the womb. You are inside of a ship, because every ship, literally a ship, every ship is female. This is why they say she delivers the product, because she does deliver the product. You, the baby. Same thing with a ship, they deliver products. They are a she. And when they pull up to the bay, like you can see on this picture, they're pulling up to the bay. This is now called the birth canal. The ship is now in birth. On paper. Okay, this is law. And when they pull up, they tie up to the bay, and now they get a certificate of manifest certifying all of the products which are on the ship and what they are bringing into that nation. Okay, so you're bringing in this many of that, everything's on the certificate of manifest. And this certificate as manifest is also your birth certificate, because you are traveling through water when you are in the birth canal of your mother, because you are in water. when you are in the womb. And you travel through the birth canal, and when you arrive, you get a certificate of manifest with the name, how many, the quantity, you know what, that's your birth certificate. Okay? And this is what it is. We are a well, we're not a corporation, but we represent a corporation, which is your name in full capital letters. That is your corporation. You cannot physically tax a body, but you can tax a corporation. This is why we get charged. This is why we get taxed, because it all goes down to the corporation which our name represents, which we are subjecting ourselves to. We are my name, I am subjecting myself to this name, and that name has a corporation which I represent, which I subject myself to. You see, this is how we are attached to this straw man, this character that they have built on paper. So it's a character which is on paper. This is what we represent. So when the woman gives birth, she delivers the baby, and then she has another substance. Now I'm going to break down how they attach this name to us, how they do it. Okay, our mother is carrying us the product in the womb, the water, and it goes, for example, it goes from the United Kingdom into a state-owned, corporate, federal-owned hospital, which is government-owned. She does not declare the package when she enters the building. Aha, so keep that in mind. When she delivers the package in the federal territory, she does not declare the package either when she leaves. Therefore, there is no evidence that we exist when we arrive. On paper. On paper, there is no evidence that we came into the building or left the building. We have not been declared. So we do not exist on paper at this point. When the woman gives birth, she delivers the baby, and then she has another substance, which is called the afterbirth material. Okay? This afterbirth material has the same DNA as our physical body, with the body, mind, and spirit. Okay? This is how they get this corporation. Hold on. The afterbirth material does not get claimed by the mother nor anyone. Therefore, they salvage that substance, because we are under the Vatican. Every state is all Catholic. Your birth certificate is Catholic. No matter what religion you think you are, every single birth certificate is Catholic, because we are subjected to Rome. All roads lead to Rome. Rome runs all of this. Okay? We're still under the Roman Empire. Okay, so Rome are Catholic and they believe in salvation. This is how religion comes into this. This is how they use religion to get this. So they salvage the afterbirth material and they claim it, and they salvage it and give it and charge it to Rome. And they give it a name. Here's the legal term, born alive. Here's what it says. Each product of such birth is considered live born and fully recognized as a human person. So each product of such birth, so that could be anything, the afterbirth, the person who actually comes out, the baby. So your afterbirth, which we do not take with us, we take the baby with us, they keep that in the hospital, they collect the afterbirth, and they salvage it, and they give it the name, which, it is us. We are a representative to that afterbirth material, which they put the name on, they claimed, which is subject to Rome. So we are walking around our whole lives as a representative to that claimed salvaged afterbirth material, which the federal state have. Okay? We are under the Catholic Church, Vatican. Therefore, the afterbirth material is a child of God. See? On paper, therefore, they believe in salvation and salvage the afterbirth material. This material has no mother or father. The state pick it up it becomes a war to the courts and gets charged to the state. So we are a representative to that character they salvaged because it is the exact same DNA as you. Subject is the name or the title, and the matter is the physical aspect left behind in the hospital, which represents us. You see? So now we're moving on to Unum Sanctum. Unum Sanctum was in 1302, a very, very important year. Very important year. Unum Sanctum says this is basically how they claim everyone in the world. So the Vatican had all this power, all this gold, all these people under them. They need to get a claim for them so then they can rule over them and make them slaves. So what they did, they created Unum Sanctum. Pope Boniface VIII did this. And it says, the spiritual man judges of all things, and he himself is judged by no man. The spiritual man, keep that in mind, unless he invent like Manichaeus two beginnings, which is false and judged by heretical, since according to the testimony of Moses, it is not in the beginnings, but in the beginning that God created heaven and earth. Furthermore, we declare, we proclaim, we define that it is absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature to be subjected to the Roman pontiff. So they are claiming us in Unum Sanctum, and it's in the vaults in the Vatican. They will put a spell on it because they are sorcerers, they are magicians. They put a spell on it, they lock it up, and whatever goes on that piece of paper goes. And this Unum Sanctum is claiming all of us. So what does it say in the beginning? The spiritual man judges of all things, and he himself is judged by no man. The spiritual man, the man with the body, mind, and soul, the first baby that comes out the birth canal. That's you, your body, you, body, mind, and soul. You have the Christ, which is I am, which is grace. Grace means here, now, in the present. You have the Christ, which means I am. Therefore, you have a soul. If you can say I am, you have the Christ. You have a soul. But a creature can be anything with no soul. You see, so no man can judge the man with the soul. However, as it says in the second part, we proclaim, we define that it's absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature to be subject to the Roman pontiff. So they are subjecting the afterbirth, not the man with the body, mind, and soul, but the afterbirth to the Roman pontiff, to the Roman Catholic Church. We are the ones who are claiming to be the afterbirth material, which is our birth certificate, which is our representative. We represent that because it is our DNA. This is how we are stuck. We are stuck because we represent this DNA, which is on paper, recorded. You see? So we, being untaught, uneducated in these subjects, we are subjecting ourselves to this system, to this slavery. Because we just want to live. We just want to live happily. Just peaceful. Think about it. Where's all this coming from? Where's all this war, all this killing, deaths coming from? We just want to live. It's coming from the Catholic Church, these evil death cult, which has subjected us, which has used us as slaves, and we are still slaves, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So this is how we have subjected ourselves to be the slaves to this system. It's a lot to take in, and there's a lot more deeper stuff which goes into this. I'm just going over the surface. I'm going quite deep, but there is little details that I still need to learn myself. But this is the general how that we've been stuck to this slave system. So we are batteries, okay? This is why we get charged. When you go in a court, you get charged, okay? Because you're a biological battery. This is why cities look like motherboards, because we are feeding energy to this matrix. Okay, when we look outside of ourselves, when we give power to so-called Jesus Christ, worshipping idols outside of ourselves, where attention goes, energy flows. We are feeding the matrix with energy. By looking within, placing your attention within yourself, you are taking back your power. Because the I am is Christ. The you, the soul, is Christ. It's God. The awareness is God. Okay? However, we are subjecting ourselves to this system. We're subjecting ourselves to this system and the feeding of our energy. So what we need to look for the future is that, think about it, with the end goal is to change our DNA, is to literally make us robots, transhumanism, slaves. This is why we have smart cars, smartphones, smart watches, smart meters, smart cities. And all of this is going to be connected by the smart grid, which is 5G. This is why 5G is rolling out. 5G is going to connect all of these technologies to one. It's like a big net system. And you know why they're doing this? It's because all of this is going to be connected through this 5G, and that 5G is going to be controlled by the elites. So you say anything wrong, you do something wrong, you say the wrong thing online, they'll turn off your car, they'll turn off your phone, they'll turn off your smartwatch, they'll turn off your TV, because it's all going to be connected and controlled by the smart grid. And this is what the Great Reset is, people. But they're going to trap us inside of these 15-minute smart cities, so we can't leave the area, because they're going to use climate change as a tool to enslave us to not travel because of so-called climate change and the fumes that we are putting into the air, which is all BS. They're doing this to push these new cities, to push all of the... Listen, they're trying to get inside of your body. The only way they can do that is to get you addicted and using this technology. First, they got on the body with the smartphone. Well, first of all, we use the technology. We get used to it with it in our hand. The next step for them was to get on the body, which is the Apple Watch, as you see down here. They have now successfully got onto the body. The next thing is to get inside of the body. This is the brain chip. You see how they've slowly lured their way in, slowly got you addicted to this technology, got you dependent on this technology. And what they're going to do is that they're going to mold society to be dependent on the brain chip. So in order, for example, if you want to go and pay for food, you're going to have to get a chip to pay for the food, because it's all going to be digital money. And that digital money will be connected to the chip, and you'll need the chip to pay for things. You see? So this is how they're slowly transhumanizing us. These phones, these apps, these things which are all we are all using, was created by Freemasons. Mason means traveler, because they travel the depths of the mind. They understand human consciousness. They understand the brain. They understand the mind. By the deepest root cause, they understand it. This is what Masonry is. It's the occult. So these technologies is designed by these people. This is why they're so addictive, because they understand how it works. They understand how to get people addicted, because they understand human consciousness, the brain, the body, and the mind. So this is the advantage Freemasons have over us. And these secret societies, which have gone through the orders of Freemasonry and progressed onto these secret societies, which are the evil side, because I'm not saying Freemasonry is evil, okay? But the societies which they go beyond Freemasonry, because you can go beyond the 33rd degree into these secret societies, and they use this knowledge for the bad, to enslave people. And this is what's going to happen. Transhumanism. So I hope you all learned some insight for today. Please do a bit more research on, birth certificate and stuff like that, the straw man. And have an amazing day, people. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace. How are we all doing today, people? It's Revival of Wisdom, and today we're going to get real deep. This video is going to get real deep. A lot of people are not going to be ready for this sort of knowledge. Okay, you really have to do is to really deprogram the mind, because everything we've been taught is a complete lie, is to keep us trapped. Okay, this is really advanced knowledge. Now, let's get straight into this. All of the ancients depicted other worlds, and they called this place Midgard. Midgard is the mid-garden, the middle garden. This is why the Masonic symbolism on the floor is always a black and white checkered board, symbolizing the polarity here, the good and bad, because we're in the middle garden, the heart. Earth rearranged spells heart, because we're in the heart of this system, of whatever it is, a super quantum computer, whatever you want to call it, simulation. Now, in the Quran, it talks about the 7 layers of heaven. All of these ancient artworks are depicting these different layers of reality. Okay, and look at the Egyptians here with the boat outside of the firmament. Boats travel on water, and this is exactly what the Masons are doing. So they're still using the same symbols. Why? Because it's the same knowledge, just hidden. The Egyptians have the same knowledge as the Freemasons. It's just hidden. Now, this cosmology that they're showing here, which is probably made maybe 100 years ago, this painting or artwork, is the exact same as the one we see here, with the arch, the boat. It's similar, because the boat is symbolizing traveling these other worlds, because the ether is also symbolized as water, because if you look up at the stars through a telescope, it looks like it's water. It's shining through water, because this ether, whatever this substance is outside of this world, was symbolized as water. Okay, and look at all these ancient depictions showing these different layers of reality. Now, we are being trapped within this 3D dimensional world, which is the cube, the Saturn cube, because there are 6 sides to everything in this world: front, back, left, right, up and down. 6, which is the cube, because we're in the Saturn's world. Okay, now, always been depicted as a tree of life, the tree of the universe has always been depicted as this tree. Because let's get a bit deeper. Now, the cosmology of this reality is the sun, the moon, and Polaris, always in the Masonic art. The sun, the moon, and Polaris, the all-seeing eye. If you go inside of the temples, of the Masonic temples, they always have this star in the middle, shining light beams. Okay? Look here. The light beams coming from the big star in the middle, which is Polaris. This eye is God. It's God's light shining down from his abundance. Now, when you astral travel, you will see this big ball of light above you, and this big ball of light is God. But you cannot travel towards it until you are pure. It doesn't work like that. You have to become formless. You have to become pure before you can become one with the light. In all these Masonic artworks, it's all depicting the star in the center. This star is Polaris, because Polaris is the way out of this place. And this is why you see the stairway to heaven all the way up to the light beam, the light source. What does it say in the Bible? God is light, because everything is made out of one substance, and that substance is light. And it symbolizes the eye, because God is an eye. All things that are alive have an eye. And we all say, I am. We all see these realities through eyes. God is an eye. He's the all-seeing eye. He sees all things at all times. And he is projecting this light. And this light comes down to create all the different levels of the worlds. And this is what the two pillars symbolize the number 11. 11, the number 1, is just a vertical line. It's the one. It's a 1 point. 11 symbolizes the mirror nature of reality. Everything's mirrored. As above, so below. Now, the 11 also symbolizes openings, doorways. And as you can see here, an opening to the all-seeing eye. And you see here again, an opening to the stairway all the way up to the light. This light is the light of God in the astral worlds, beyond this world. Now, Polaris has also been symbolized as the UFO. They put the truth in plain sight. So you know in the films how the UFOs suck people up. That's what Polaris is doing. If you ascend beyond this world, if you do not ascend beyond this world, you will be reincarnated in this world. The whole thing is to outgrow this consciousness to the plane above. And I'm not just making this up. I'm going to be bringing in scriptures after this. But you can see with the Christmas tree, we always put a high, big star at the center, at the top, which is the star of Polaris, which is exactly what the Masons are doing here. The star at the top. And it's on top of our Christmas trees. And all of these symbolize the other stars, because Polaris is the most high star. And all the other stars are wrapped around the firmament lower than Polaris. And that's exactly what the Christmas tree is. And it's a triangle. It's a triangle, just like light beams travel from one point in the triangle, just like the all-seeing eye. It's a triangle. The light is coming from one point and sending its rays downward. You see, it's kind of like you see here with the water. And the lower you go, the darker it gets, the more evil it becomes. And this is what the ancients would call hell. Now, this all-seeing eye is Polaris. And below Polaris is Mount Meru, the North Pole, the magnetic North Pole. The Tower of Babel, which is in the Bible. The etymology of the word Babel, Ba meaning spirit, which gives the ability to move the soul through the worlds, which is that's the ancient Egyptian description of the word Ba, meaning of the word Ba. You have the Ka, the Ba, the Ak, but the Ba is the one that gives the ability for the soul to move through the worlds. Your soul can't speak into a world without incarnating into it. Now, the Tower of Babel symbolizes Mount Meru, because it's the word Ba is the spirit which gives the ability for the soul to move through the worlds. The Tower of Babel is the magnetic North Pole, Mount Meru, which gives the ability to move through these different worlds. And you can see the ancient Tibetans always showing this depiction of these different worlds coming from the center. Because we have to ascend our consciousness. It's not about how good you are to reach heaven. It's about how you expand your consciousness, you expand your mind. So they teach now that you have to be good in order to reach to heaven. It's about expanding the mind, expanding your consciousness to these different planes, these different realms. So that's what it's about. And Jesus was known as the fisher of man. Now, Jesus is a massive part of this. He was known as the fisher of man because he was fishing. He could have been fishing. He could have been one of these deities that had come down from these different higher realities and pull people up. So they would. So they called Jesus the fisher of man. And he says unto them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." So these deities that we see in the past, like Buddha, Krishna, Hermes, Thoth, Jesus, could all be these entities who were coming down to pick up the minds that were worthy enough to see the higher planes of reality. And this is why they called him the fisher of man. Now, when Jesus walks on water, there is a parable with Paul. And he says, "But Jesus immediately said unto them, Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." He's talking about astral travel here. He's talking about leaving the body. Because when you leave the body in astral travel to see these alternative realities, you can't be afraid because fear is a bondage, which is what the Emerald Tablets talks about. "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." The water. "Come," he said. And Peter got down from the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. When you become afraid in astral travel, you sink back into your body. "Lord, save me." So this is talking about Jesus pulling people up into different realities. And you can see the fish is the symbol of Jesus. This is another symbol of Jesus, a fish. Because fish symbolize deep occult knowledge. Because fish travel the depths of the ocean. And they symbolize us because we are fish underneath the ethers. And Jesus was pulling people up. You see, so the Bible is a people today believe the Bible is a book telling you how to reach to heaven, how to become godly and reach heaven. But you've got to become the Jesus Christ to see these alternative realities. Now look at the Emerald Tablets is a massive part, and it speaks so much about these different realities. Look what it says here. This is in Emerald Tablet 3. "Then in my heart grew a great longing to conquer the pathway that led to the stars," which is exactly what the Masons depict in all of their art. Look, the ladder to the stars. And then he goes on to say, "Years after years I sought after wisdom, seeking new knowledge, following the way, until at last my soul in great travail broke from its bondage and bounded away. Broke from the bondage of the body. Free was I from the bondage of earth men. Free from the body, I flashed through the night." The stars. The stars are a massive part in the astral world. Each star is a different reality. And the true astrology is the star that you came from. You came through a star to reach this, to reach here. There is a reason why you are here. There's a reason why you have the personality traits, because your soul came from a specific star. This is why we call them stargates, because they are gates in and out of this reality. And Polaris is the way out to the higher worlds. Now look, far into space, my soul traveled freely into the infinite circles of light. Beyond knowledge were some planets and great gigantic beyond dreams of men. Then he goes to say, lift up your flame from out of the darkness, fly from the night and ye shall be free. Lift up your flame. Your flame is your soul, because it has to be lifted up out of the darkness. This is the darkness, this world, this body is the darkness. Because it's a bondage. You need to break free. You need to learn how to astral travel, people. You have to learn this. If you want to get out of this world, you have to learn how to astral travel and see the other realities. Traveled I through space-time, knowing my soul at last was set free, knowing that now I must pursue wisdom until at last I pass to a plane hidden from knowledge, known not to wisdom, extension beyond all that we know. So he's talking about he went to a place where we cannot even comprehend here, a place that is not even known to Earthmen. He's telling you he's ascended out of this world to the planes that are beyond. And it says here in the Emerald Tablets, man is in process of changing to forms that are not of this world. Grows he in time to the formless, a plane on the cycle above. Know ye must be one, ye must become formless before ye are one with the light. The light, the same light that I was talking about, the Masonic light, with the triangle, God, the one source. Ye must become formless before ye are with the light. Formless, you have to leave the body. You have to leave the body. You have to gain the ability to leave this body and travel to these other worlds. Now, it says here, not as man am I, for free have I become of dimensions and planes. In each I take on a new body. In each I change my form. Know I now that the formless is all there is of form. You see, all things created come from the things that, all things that you see come from the things that you cannot see. All of us have the same spark of consciousness, the same I am. Every dog, every animal, every human has this same I, this same thing which sees through the eye. It's formless. It takes, this formless entity is the same entity of us. We are all the same entity in different bodies. And this entity it was represented as the flame, the cosmic flame, which is inside of all of us. And this is why the Masons depicted your spine as a candle or the Holy Grail. You would either see this or a candle with a flame on the top, because the Holy Grail is your consciousness, which is on top of your spine, which is the candle. Now, Jesus, Thoth, Buddha were all these deities which were coming down to lift people up, because they were fishermen of men. And he would lift you up to the higher worlds, out of this world, to the ones above. Now Thoth, you can see him here, he's leading the way. He's holding someone and he's leading the way with knowledge and power. He was leading the way to other worlds, out of this world. There's no point trying to change this world. This world will stay the same. It will stay the same. You have to get out of this world. And that's what they're telling you. That's what they're keeping you from. They're keeping you stuck within this thin layer of reality. So what the Masons are doing, they have the ability to astral travel. They're living not stuck and bound to one reality, but living within the different layers of reality. And this is what Morpheus was doing in the Matrix. Morpheus was going into the Matrix to go and get Neo, which is exactly what Jesus was doing, pulling up people out of this world to the ones higher. And that's exactly what Morpheus is doing in the Matrix. If you haven't watched the Matrix, go and watch it. It will blow your mind. Everything I'm saying in this video, you will see it. Except that you don't need to use a machine to enter the Matrix. You just use your body. Well, you use your consciousness to leave this body. You see, Neo was also uploading himself into the simulation to pull people out of the simulation. And this is exactly what all of these gods were doing. The Fisher of Man, look, he was pulling people up out of this reality with the knowledge. Now Jesus was always depicted with the mushrooms. Look at all this mushroom art. Mushrooms were literally the origin of Christianity. You can see it everywhere. There's mushrooms in all of the ancient art. Every single one of these paintings you see here, there's mushrooms on them. Mushrooms have the ability to see alternative states of consciousness. Now, if you go and do them, and you go to sleep, if you pop mushrooms, you go to sleep, and you will wake up in another reality. You will wake up in another reality. Don't try it if you don't want to do it. But if you've got the heart to do it, do it. Eat them, and go to sleep. You'll wake up in another reality. And Jesus was handing out mushrooms to the bright minds, to the minds that he wanted to fish out and pull up to the higher realities. He was giving them mushrooms to see themselves in an alternative state, in an alternative reality. This is why there was so much mushroom art. And it's not just ancient Christians, it's Sumerians, it's the Mayans, the Celtics, the Egyptians, all used mushrooms. All of them. Look at all this art. It's on stones. It's everywhere. Because mushrooms, see, everything in nature is a macro. Look at the form of a mushroom. It's literally your spine and brain. Because they alter your consciousness. Your body is just a radio receiver. Everything that you're experiencing is a program being ran by the central nervous system, and your consciousness is experiencing this program, these electrical impulses of the nervous system, because it's all feeding back to one point, which is the pineal gland. And this is the candle with the light on it. Type in Masonic candle and you'll see it. It's your spine with your spark of consciousness on top of the spine. And it's a mushroom, because this sends you to alternative states of consciousness, alternative realities. Now, they were all doing this, the Egyptians, the Mayans. Now, there's more symbolism which goes into this. Look at the Christmas trees we use. The Christmas tree with the presents underneath them. Magic mushrooms grow under trees. And these are the presents under the trees that we symbolize today with Christmas. Santa's red and yellow for the red and yellow mushrooms. The same mushrooms Mario has to collect. And when he gets enough mushrooms, he levels up. And then what does he do when he go past the world? When you win that world in Mario, you go to another reality. You go inside of another world. It's truth in plain sight, and it's using mushrooms. It's using mushrooms. Everything, all of the characters in Mario, well, a lot of them are mushrooms. Look at this one. The presents, black, yellow, and red and white. Red and white mushrooms. And the bow on the top is the mushroom head. That's a bit of a reach, but you know, the symbolism never lies. This is what you need to understand. And it's as above, so below. Now look at the Sumerians. The Sumerians were also multi-dimensional beings. Okay, look at how they have the double faces. They had 1 foot in this reality and 1 foot in another reality. And look at this one, a double-headed god inside of like a portal. You see? Because it's, and look at these with the wings, the astral travel. Birds, ancient birds symbolize the soul. Because the soul is a bird, it flies to different worlds. It flies around the cosmos. And mushrooms gave you the ability to see these alternative states of consciousness, these alternate realities. Because you exist in infinite realities. You exist in infinite realities. Now look at the 33rd degree Ordo Ab Chao badge. You get this badge when you become a 33rd degree Freemason. And it's a double-headed eagle. A double-headed eagle. And you can see this in Sumeria first. Sumeria have the same symbol. A double-headed, bird. You can see it here. Here as well. And the Masons are still using this symbol today. And when you become a 33rd degree, 33 vertebrae on the back of your spine, above the vertebrae is your consciousness, and it's a double-headed eagle. One reality in one, you become a multi-dimensional being in the 33rd degree. And I've heard many interviews of Masons say it becomes Luciferian. You see, they speak in code. These Masons can't tell you about what they learn about, but they will speak in code. They said it becomes Luciferian. The word Luciferian is lucid. The root word of Luciferian is lucid, and lucid is lucid dreaming, alternative realities, dream worlds. You become a god. Luciferian means you're becoming your own god, pretty much, because you are becoming a multi-dimensional being living in between the different layers of reality at the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. And look at the double-headed eagle, because the birds symbolize the soul. And they reach high, they fly high, just like the soul wants to fly high to the light, to become one with the light, like the Emerald Tablet says. Now look at Janus. Janus was another god, and he's known as the god of doorways. Janus always depicted with a double head. Janus is why we say janitor or January. And January is entering a new year. Janus is known as the god of doorways with keys, always got a key. Because keys open doors. That's why the janitor holds all the keys. And Janus always has double heads, because he had 1 foot in this reality, 1 foot in another. He was a multi-dimensional being. A Luciferian. Living between the different layers of reality, except from instead of being stuck in one like we are. Well, a lot of people. And that's the whole point. You see, all of this stuff is about like changing the world and stuff like that. This world will probably never ever change. It's probably been like this forever. Well, forever, for a long time. But It's about moving out of this reality to the higher states. And the Masons always depict the ladder to the luminaries, the stars, with a key, the same key of Janus. The Vatican is a key, and it's in charge of all the religions. Why is it a key? Because they're holding back the key. They're keeping you stuck within this reality, keeping you stuck as identifying yourself with the body, identifying yourself with this world. You are not in the world is within you. This is a program being ran by your central nervous system, and your consciousness is experiencing this reality. Now, this is going to be a mind-blowing video for some people. You have to have an open mind. You have to let go of all the programs. I'm repeating what the ancients are talking about and the ancient symbolism. Look at Janus with the double-headed god. He was just another god coming down, giving keys to people who had the worthy mind to be pulled up out of this reality, to be pulled up to heaven, just like Jesus was teaching how to reach heaven. But really, it's an encoded scripture. But anyways, hope you all gained some insight on this video. Have an amazing day. Please like, share, comment. All the links are in the bio for the PDF, for the Manifestation Mastery course, and all the other amazing stuff. And if you want to support the channel, I'd greatly appreciate if you became a Patreon member. Hope you'll have an amazing day, people. God bless.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Welcome people, we're back with another video. In this video we're talking about how Jesus Christ and Christianity is all sun worship. The Holy Bible of Christianity is not meant to be taken literal for history. It is a story and has lots of metaphors. Starting with the symbol of the cross of Jesus. This cross originates from this ancient cross of the sun. This symbol has been used for thousands of years, way before Jesus was a thing, in Europe, America, Asia, and all around the world. In fact, this symbol is still being used by Christians today, not knowing it represents the sun. This is a 4,500-year-old artifact, a golden plate with an equal-armed cross found in England. The gold to symbolize the sun, and the equal-armed cross for the 4 equal seasons of the year. So this is why in the Bible you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, symbolizing the yearly cycle of the sun and the 4 equal seasons. Also in the Bible, Jesus is referred to as the light of the world. So yes, Jesus represents the sun. He is a metaphor for the sun. Hence why in all of these pictures and images and paintings of Jesus, there's always a sun behind his head, and some even with the sun cross behind his head. Jesus also has 12 disciples, which represent the 12 zodiac signs and the 12 months of the year. This is the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. As you can see, the sun, being Jesus, is in the center, because the sun is in the center of the zodiac signs. There are 4 groups which symbolize the 4 equal seasons. Each group contains 3 people symbolizing the 3 months and the 3 zodiac signs in that season. There is only 1 female in the painting, which is Virgin Mary, who symbolizes Virgo, the astrological sign. So yes, Jesus symbolizes the sun with his 12 zodiac signs and 4 gospels for the 4 seasons of the year. However, there is another phenomenon. The 25th of December is known as the birth of Jesus Christ, which is known as Christmas today. Jesus symbolizing the sun and is born on December 25th. This is the day the sun moves 1 degree northward, bringing back the warmth, the growth of crops, the life and light back to the northern hemisphere. Everything is springing back to life, as we call it, spring. So it is said that the sun is born again on the 25th of December, and Jesus is known as the risen Saviour, because the sun is our risen Saviour, because it gives life to the whole of this realm, the warmth, the crops. And without the sun rising in the morning, we'd all die in about 2 weeks. And we all know how Jesus died on a cross. The sun also dies on a cross in the southern hemisphere. It dies on the Southern Crux constellation. And on December the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, the sun remains in the same position. So the sun dies for 3 days and it is born again on December 25th, when it moves 1 degree northward. And this is when the sun is born again, or resurrected, just like Jesus. Constellation Virgo is prominent in the spring sky in the northern hemisphere. So therefore, the sun is born a virgin, Virgo. And as you see in this image, you see Virgin Mary holding the sun. Us as humans do not own the sun, so therefore God owns the sun. So yes, the sun is the Son of God, and this is what Jesus is symbolizing. And just how Jesus sacrifices himself for humanity, that's what the sun does. The sun gives out all of its energy so we can live. There are many other Bible verses which represent Jesus as the sun. Now in Matthew 8:23-27, his disciples are in a boat and there is a massive storm. Jesus is asleep, meaning the sun has not arose. And the disciples say, "Save us, Lord, we are perishing." Quote, "Then he rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm." End quote. Now this is a metaphor for the sun rising and calming the storm, because in the ocean, when the sun is down, that's when there are great storms. The worship of celestial bodies go back thousands of years, and it's called astrotheology, and it can pretty much be traced back to all ancient civilizations. Now going back to the ancient Egyptians, the god Horus, the god of war, and he symbolized the sun in the morning. Ancients used to say that he walked over the sky in 12 steps. Yes, this could symbolize the 12 zodiac signs. It also symbolizes the 12 hours of daylight. So we have 12 hours of Horus, but now they've rearranged the word to hours. Horus and hours. And when the sun rises, Horus rises, we say horizon, which is Horus is rising. That's the etymology of horizon. Another Egyptian god called Amun-Ra was known as the god of all creation. He was the first god of them all. Amun was also a sun god. Therefore, after every Christian's prayer, they say Amen, sending their prayer through the sun to God. So this all goes back to the worshipping of the sun. Sun worship was around way before the Romans. However, in the Roman times, their sun god was called Mithra. Mithraism was the main religion before Christianity came into play. Mithra was the son of God. He died on a cross.
and he was dead for 3 days and resurrected, just like Jesus. So the Catholic Church was not made in heaven, it was made by the Roman Empire. They mixed all the sun religions of Judaism, Mithraism, and other Arabic religions and combined it into one, so Caesar, the Roman emperor, could gain his own religion. So yes, Christianity was a political move to gain more control over the masses, because it was a worldwide government at this point in time. So here is a Sumerian helmet with the rising sun symbol. And then the Romans also used this rising sun symbol on their armor. So sun worship has been going on for thousands of years, and it still goes on today. However, with all the programming and the low IQs, today we do not get the full interpretation of the Bible and these stories from the past. And Christians and other religions are all brainwashed to not question their religion and not realize their true origins and where they come from. I do advise you all to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. However, I'm just pointing out the facts and connecting dots for you all to see. That's it for this video, guys and girls. Thank you all for tapping in. God bless.
What is good, people? How are we all doing? Today we're going to be talking about the different planes of existence, the occult side of the world, the things they don't teach you in school. And of course, you can only find that on this channel, so welcome. So you need to understand is that your consciousness moves through these different planes of existence, these different states of consciousness, which make up all of you. Okay? They are all interlocked planes. They are all interpenetrated into each other. They are all one. They melt into the plane above and below. You see, each plane is a product of each plane. As above, so below. Now, the higher you go, the more fluid, the more dreamy, the less dense it becomes. The lower you go, the more denser it becomes, the more solid it becomes. The lowest plane is the physical plane, which you are obviously aware of. You are inside of the physical plane now. But while you are in this inside of this physical plane, you are indeed inside of all these other bodies which you have not awakened yet. You have to awaken these different bodies. You have these bodies. Okay? It's like a ripple effect. And the center is the most dense, the most solid. This is Earth, heart, the heart of the ripple. And the lower you, the further you go out from the center, the more dreamy, the less fluid, the more fluid, the more less dense it gets until you're one with the all. You see? And this is what it's like. This is what this system is. It's like a ripple effect. Now, let's jump straight into the planes. First, you have the physical plane, made out of 4 elements. Five elements. The ether is the mother of the elements. It's the womb of the elements. It's the 5th element. And it gives birth to the 4 other elements. 4 is stability. Tables have 4 legs, and this is why the ether gives birth to 4, because it's the foundation of the physical world. Fire, earth, water, air. They are not pure. Each one of the elements melts into the other one. For example, earth and water both share cold. Water and air both share wet. You see? They compose of each other. They melt, they mold into each other based off the vibrational state of the ether. That's what it is. The 4 elements are the vibrational states of the ether. Okay? So you have the 4 physical elements making this, physical world. It's the lowest world. It's the world of effect. This world, whatever you see, whatever you experience, it's the effect. You can't change anything by manipulating this world. You got to manipulate the higher worlds to affect this world, you see? As above, so below. This is the lowest plane. It has three-dimensional. It's the third dimension. Space, height, and thickness. That's all it is. Front, backwards, upwards. You see, it's three-dimensional. We cannot perceive the hidden side, which is the interior of this existence. We cannot perceive the interior from our exterior view. We are looking into this world. Okay, this is the exterior view. We can't see what's inside of that. That's the fourth dimension, which is the next one. It's the most gross and dense plane. Four states of matter, the most slowest vibrational molecules exist in this plane. Above this plane, you have the ether. Okay, the word ether and either are the same thing, because either connects two scenarios in languages. I either support Manchester United or Liverpool. Either is connected. Pure potential energy flows through the ether. It is pure energy, pure potential. Okay, the physical body is an exact copy of the etheric counterpart body. So every physical object has an etheric energy double. It's like a blueprint of that object. Every single object has an energy double, and that's the etheric double. Okay, the etheric body determines the shape of our physical body through its lines of force. All through life, it rebuilds and restores the physical body. Physical problems show up first in the etheric body, because as above, so below. You manipulate the higher planes, it will manipulate this plane. And this is why sorcery works. You know, contact with astral plane entities. We'll get into that a bit later. So, the reason why we can't see this plane, this energy world, which is all around us, which we are inside of right now as we speak, is that the molecules that compose it are further apart than those of the physical plane, making it invisible to the two eyes. That we can't perceive it. Our eyes cannot physically suck in that sort of information, and our brain cannot decode it. This is why, you know, they brainwash us with all these programs to keep us asleep, to keep these other bodies we have asleep, so we don't find out about these other bodies, and is to make you believe that everything's just a material. Only the material world exists. They don't want you to know is that everything that you see is a result of something you cannot see. As above, so below. There are realities within this reality. This is what I'm breaking down now, these different planes, on how this reality works. So your etheric double is your energy body. You can see here the physical, etheric, astral. Astral is your spirit. The ether is a part of the physical plane. It's like just above the physical plane, but it's still part. But then the astral plane is completely separate. It's another plane, but they're all interlocked. Don't think they're apart. They're all interlocked. They're all one. They all melt into each other. The chakras that we have are inside of our etheric body. They are our sense of organs which tune us to the fourth dimension. These 7 chakras connect us to the astral world, the fourth dimension. Okay? They are points for the flow of energy from the universe / 7 planets, because the 7 chakras are your 7 planets, and the 7 planets are connected to the astral world. They are feeding these 7 senses in our body. They connect us to the universe, to our etheric counterpart, and then to us, supplying the physical body. Because the energy comes from above. As above, so below. These 7 senses, these 7 etheric chakras, are being supplied with energy from the universe, the 7 planets, the solar system. Then it supplies the physical body. You see? So, the ether is very important. And this is, you know, that the ancients understood the science of the ether, and they could, you know, harness free electricity from it, because it's all around us. The ether is all around us. And this is what they were doing. They were harnessing free energy using the ether. The astral plane, the fourth dimension, very important plane. Very, very important. We've all been there. Every single one of you has been there. Okay? The fourth dimension is unseen of what we see. It's the interior of the exterior that we see. We see the third dimension, but we cannot see beyond what's making this third dimension. This is the fourth dimension. Okay? It's the dream world. This is where you go when you dream. Okay? This is where you go when you dream. It's the place of disembodied spirits or ghosts, entities, whatever you want to call them. When you hear ringing in your ears, that is not tinnitus. That is an entity around you. Okay? That is an entity around you. The fourth dimension is where thought forms exist. Mental images. Thought forms as in what you see in your mind when you think of an image, because the mind is the highest plane of existence. Mind is the highest plane of existence. And it manipulates all of the planes below. So it goes the mental plane, then the astral plane. So the thought is in the mind, the mental plane. That just the thought alone, no image, but then the form depiction, the thought form exists. It manifests in the astral plane as a sort of image, an entity, a living conscious being. So this is why thoughts are things. You see, thought forms exist within the fourth dimension. So when you imagine something, when you are, for example, right now, look into your hand and imagine there's an apple in your hand. If you can see that, you are seeing into this fourth dimension. You can only see into this fourth dimension using the mind's eye, not the two eyes, the mind's eye. When you shut off the two eyes into darkness, the third eye opens. The mind's eye is open, and you can see, this is astral travel. You got to work on astral travel, and you will see this astral plane, this fourth dimension. And there are 3 different sections to this astral plane: higher, middle, or lower. So yes, there is a kind of a heaven and hell, and a Midgard. Heaven being the higher vibrational entities manifesting higher vibrational thought forms existing there, the lower vibrational thought forms existing in the astral plane. But these thought forms are beings. You can create these beings. They're called elementals. Okay? If you entertain specific thoughts for long enough, this will plant a seed and it will grow. If so for example, you have a bad feeling or whatever, what's a good example? Unforgiving someone. You keep that energy inside of you for long enough, it will manifest in the fourth dimension. You entertain that thought long enough, it will manifest. And it will create an etheric body, and it will be an entity which will harm you, that will feed off you, this low vibrational energy. Your mind is so powerful. Etheric bodies. Now, that's why it's very important that you master your mind, master your thought patterns. So this fourth dimension is the astral world. So when you have a nightmare, this is the lower astral plane. You're in the lower astral plane. Whilst this physical body rests at night, your consciousness, you awaken this other body, your consciousness goes inside of this other body, whilst the physical body lays asleep. You see? So it's all inside of you. This is what you need to understand. You just haven't awakened these bodies yet. You can awaken them. You just got to awaken them. Okay? The next is the mental plane. This is the mind, the source, pure cause, pure motion, the most less dense, the most fluid. No form. There's no form to the mind. Astral plane is the first plane where a form takes existence, pretty much. The mental world has no form. It's pure mind, pure intelligence. Thoughts alone exist here without any images or manifestation. The most fluid, the most dreamy, the most causal plane. All of the rest take the effects of this plane. That's why it's mind over matter. Your thoughts they create vibrations. Each vibration is vibrating on a specific frequency, which creates mental images, creates effects down here on this physical plane. This is why it's so important to master your mind. Master what you think. Master your mind. It's the hardest thing to master. You could conquer the world, but it's probably harder to conquer your own mind than to conquer the whole world. I can promise you that, because the mind can play tricks on you. You got to listen to that inner guide within you that will constantly manifest the good things. So anyways, people, hope you learned a lot from this. Please work on trying to activate these other bodies. I will maybe do another video on trying to activate these bodies if you wish. Please comment down below if you would like to see that. And have an amazing day. Please like, subscribe, comment down below any video ideas you want me to do, any information you want me to spit. Thank you all. Have an amazing day.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Today, we're going to be talking about portals, portal symbolism, what portals are, okay, and how they show them to us, because they have to tell you the truth, guys. This is the thing with the universal law. They have to tell you the truth. And they tell you through symbols, they tell you through movies, and different things like that. But let's jump straight into this. So first I want to talk about the Freemasonry symbols. Okay, so first we got, obviously this is some Freemasonry art. But notice how you've got the ladder with a key. Okay, so this is ladder symbolism with a key. So maybe this is talking about ascending. Okay, because look, because this is ascending into the heavens, because it's a ladder with humans going up it with a key. In order to ascend, you must have the key. Okay, so what else do we have with a key? Well, the Netflix show Lock and Key, which is all about portals and keys. Because what the keys do, they open doors, gateways. Okay, so what's interesting about this is that they've got this key here, which represents the Kundalini energy rising up the spine. Okay, but we'll come back to this. But it's that same portal key symbolism. We've also got the Vatican. The Vatican is in the shape of a key. Okay, so you can see the start of it here and the end. So this is key symbolisms. Keys open doors. And notice how it's got the 8-pointed star. Okay, what is the 8-pointed star? Okay, we'll come back to this. This all ties in, guys. I'll break it all down for you. But then you've also got the god Janus. Janus, okay, is known as the god of the doorways. He's an ancient god of Rome, and they worshipped him. However, he's not a god, he's more like a high-level ranked demon. Because he is the god of the doorways. And notice how he's got two faces. Because doorways always have two sides. You're going into somewhere, there's always two sides of a door. And he's always depicted with two sides of a face and a key. Because he holds the key to the doorways, to the portals, to other worlds and realms. Okay, as you can see, he's always got two faces and a key. Okay, so now we have the Sumerians, the Anunnaki, and they are always depicted with the two faces. Why do they have the two faces? Because they're symbolizing doorways, and the Anunnaki come to Earth through doorways and portals. So these are what these gods are symbolizing in their artwork. But they always have the 8-pointed star. Okay, what is the 8-pointed star? You see how they always have, look, let me try to find another one. It's the 8-pointed star. This 8-pointed star is Polaris. Okay, Polaris, just like the Vatican has the 8-pointed star with the key. Polaris is the center star. Polaris is a fixed star. It doesn't move. Okay. So the Anunnaki's symbol is also the 8-pointed star. So this is symbolizing the portals and doorways that they come through in order to get to the earth. But Polaris is that center star which does not move. It's always symbolized with the 8-pointed star, just like a compass. Why is a compass the 8-pointed star? Because at the center of our realm is where the most electromagnetic energy is stored. As you can see, we have an aura field, an electromagnetic aura field. So does the earth. And in the center, so like our heart, for example, is where the most energy is stored. And like the center of the earth, this is why all compasses point to the center, because this is where the most electromagnetic energy is stored. It's at the center of our realm. Okay. So like I was saying with the lock and key series, see this here? The Kundalini energy rising up the spine, just like your Kundalini energy rising up the spine. Let me try. I can't zoom in, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Let's go back to Polaris, because at the center is where pole. Can you see the pole of electromagnetic energy? Polaris, the North Pole. It's symbolized. The truth is in the words. It's like a pole of electromagnetic energy. And this is where the Aurora Borealis comes from. Notice how it's got the word aura in it, because it's the Earth's aura, electromagnetic field. Just like you have an aura, also known as the Northern Lights, because it's coming out of this center hole in the center of our realm, where the black sun is. And this is where the electromagnetic energy is coming up from. And this is what the Aurora Borealis is, or the Northern Lights. It's just electromagnetic energy. And it's symbolized through our symbols, the original O. Okay, because it's like a pole through the middle. Polaris. So this Polaris is the sky vault. It's the portal into this realm. Because this is what the Anunnaki are always talking about. Always symbolize it with the 8-pointed star. And just like a compass is the 8-pointed star, pointed to the center, to Polaris. Okay. See here on the Sumerian tablets with the 8-pointed star again. And how we know it's talking about portals with this 8-pointed star is because CERN 666 are opening up portals to the underworld, letting in demonic entities into this realm. How do we know it's a portal? Because their Hydra Collider has 8 points, just like the 8-pointed star. So they are creating synthetic portals to the underworld to let these demonic entities into our realm. But what is the key? Because if we're talking about ascending through Polaris, notice how here on the masonry art, this luminary here, so this is the sun, that's the moon, this is Polaris, because it's a luminary with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beams coming off the luminary, just like the 8-pointed star. So you see the ladder with the key going up to Polaris. It's symbolizing ascending out of Earth. So what is this key that they're keeping from us? Because it's a human holding a key going up the ladder to Polaris. Well, chakras. We have 7 chakras. Okay, so this is what they are telling us in the lock and key symbolism. The Kundalini energy rising up the spine. Okay, just like they have 33 vertebrae on the back of your spine. Okay, this represents the Kundalini energy going up your 33 vertebrae, just like in Masonry has 33rd degrees. Okay, so what is the key? Your chakras. Your chakras have to be unlocked. Okay, you have to unlock your chakras, and you can't unlock this one without going through this one. You have to go through them all. It's like a ladder, just like Jacob's ladder. You can't go from the bottom to the top. You have to unlock each one. Okay, just like you have 7 chakras, you have 7 layers of your aura. Okay, you have to unlock your chakras to the highest point in order to reach Christ consciousness. And this is the key that they're talking about. They're symbolizing the organic portal within each and every one of us to ascend out of this realm. Okay, so this is the key that they're talking about, and they're holding back this knowledge to keep us trapped in this 3D realm. Okay, so like I was saying with the 33 vertebrae and the Kundalini energy coming up the spine, 33 vertebrae, you can see this sort of symbolism going up to the light, because it's the light. You see here, your crown chakra turns on and becomes enlightened, just like the Illuminati symbol. Can you see it? But also Jesus also died at 33. So this is symbolizing, okay, they're symbolizing the death of the ego, the body. So once you open up your chakras and reach Christ consciousness, which is your 33rd vertebrae, once your Kundalini energy goes up your 33rd vertebrae, your body technically, not physically, but spiritually dies, because you then become formless. You reach Christ consciousness. So then you can travel other worlds. Okay. This is what they're talking about with Vatican, 8-pointed star and the key. Janus with the key. The Sumerians with the 8-pointed star. Anunnaki, the 8-pointed star. Polaris, 8-pointed star. So Polaris is the way out of this realm, which is at the center pole, North Pole. Okay, so the key is that they're hiding from us is the knowledge to unlock our chakras. Okay, and without this knowledge that they keep from us is trapping our souls in this reality to keep reincarnating. Okay, well, thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to leave you all there. Make sure to leave a like and a comment in the comment section. Let me know some topics to talk about so I can break it down for you. God bless you all. How are we doing, people? It's Revival of Wisdom. We're back today talking about sun worship. Okay? And please enjoy. Sit back and enjoy the video. First thing we need to understand is that the sun is the risen Savior. It's the light of the world. Without the sun, we have nothing. Now, the sun is the Son of God. We didn't make the sun. No one owns the sun. But who created the sun? Obviously, the Creator created the sun. Therefore, it is the Son of God. And that is what Jesus is symbolizing in the Bible. The Bible is a metaphorical story. That's why it's called the greatest story ever told. Because it is a story about the sun, the zodiac. It's about you, the systems in the body. It's about everything that is sacred in this creation. Now you can see the suns behind Jesus' head in all of the ancient portraits. Even the ones that are more modern, you still see a sun on the back of his head. Because he is the sun. He's the light of the world, our risen Savior. And this is what Christians are lost, because they don't realize it's a symbolic story. They think Jesus was a historical person. He's not a historical person. Okay? This is what we need to get out of our mind. This wasn't a historical person. It's the Son, our risen Savior. The Son is the soul. It's the soul of this creation. Because what is a soul? A soul is pure life force, pure energy. Whatever a soul inhabits, it gives life to. Like our soul feeds our body. The sun feeds the earth, because the sun is a soul, and that's why the ancients called it Sol. Because it's the soul, and it's in you, and it's the light of the world. It's the light of everything. It gives life to all things. Here's Jesus and his 12 disciples. The 12 disciples symbolize the 12 zodiac signs. Aries, it rules the head region, because the 12 zodiac constellations rule specific regions of your body. Aries, the ram, you have a cerebrum in your head. This is Aries on the head of the table. His Gemini rules the arms and the lungs. The two twins, Gemini. He's holding up 2 hands for the 2 hands and arms. The twins. Cancer has a knife in his hand. It's not so clear, but he has a knife in his hand. Cancer is the crab. Crabs have claws. And he's pointing at Virgo's Adam's apple, saying there's no Adam's apple there. It's a woman. Who's the 6th sign? The 6th sign is Virgo, the Virgin. The only woman in the painting. Now notice how there are 3 people in 4 groups. For the 4 seasons and for the 3 months and 3 zodiac signs in each season. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John with the suns on the back of their heads. Because it's the 4 states of the sun. The 4 states of the sun. Now, 6th sign, Virgo, the Virgin, the only woman in the painting with no Adam's apple. Then we have the sun, Jesus, red and blue, red shift, blue shift. Electromagnetism. The ancients knew this. He's got one hand open, one hand down, because the sun gives and retrieves. The sun rises and it falls. It gives, then pulls away. That's what the sun does, and that's what he's doing. His arms are out, symbolizing the rays of the sun, casting down onto the earth, giving and then receiving. Libra, his 2 hands are equal, he's holding his arms out equally, because Libra is the 2 balanced scales. Libra is when the sun is balanced between the summer and the winter. It's being judged. The sun isn't balanced. That's what Libra is, the 2 scales. Capricorn is the goat. Goats have 2 horns, and you can see the 2 horns on his head here. See? So this is astrology. This what Leonardo da Vinci is depicting here. It's astrology. He knew the story of the Bible is all astrology. It's all based on astrology. The Son of God, the real Son. Now here are some Bible verses. I am the light of the world. Obviously, that's the sun. What other light is there that lights up the world? The moon can't do it. It's the sun, the one and only Son, our risen Savior. Because if the sun didn't rise, we'd all be dead. So it's our risen Savior. and it dies for our sins every night and then gets reborn every day. Now, Jesus calms the storm. Mark 4:35-41. The disciples are all on a boat and there's a heavy storm, but Jesus is asleep. The disciple says, Jesus is asleep. We need to awake him. They wake up Jesus, and Jesus got up and rebuked the wind and said to the waves, quiet, be still. Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. Well, when Jesus was asleep, this is the sun not being risen. It's not risen yet. Because in the night times, that's when the storms happen on the sea, in the ocean. And when they awake Jesus rises, because he's the sun, he rises and everything calms. Because when the sun comes, the storms go. You see? So it's the sun. It's all about the sun. Here's another, Luke 22:10. A disciple asked Jesus, when will we know it's the end times? And Jesus says, as you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters. Well, this is clearly talking about astrology, the topic that Christians think is satanic, when they don't realize the whole thing's based on astrology. Because the end times is the end of Pisces, which is the two fish, which is the age we've just gone out of. And you can see all these ancient churches here with two fishes, because they knew it was the age of Pisces. There's an ancient artwork with the two fish, Pisces. And the end times, as it talks about in the Bible, when Christians think the world's going to end or something. But no, it's just the end of Pisces. As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar will meet you. Follow him to the house. The house is the zodiac sign that he enters. And the zodiac sign is Aquarius, because that's what it is, a man carrying the water. We know this is astrology because that is a woman's job in the ancient times. In the ancient times, the woman used to get the water. You would never see a man collecting water back then. That was the woman's job, whilst the man builds the houses, for example. You see, so we know it's talking about astrology because astrology is the man holding the bucket of water. It's the end of Pisces. Now we are in Aquarius. And of course, Luke 24:36, the risen Savior, the Son. Now the Son is also born on the 25th of December, a virgin, just like Horus, Mithra, Buddha, Krishna, Hermes, and thousands of other gods, all born on the 25th of December. Well, it's because the sun moves 1 degree northward on the 25th of December. And on the 22nd to the 24th, it stays in the same degree because it's moving south. But then on the 22nd, it stays in the same degree on the Southern Crux constellation. And the ancients called this the sun dies on a cross, because the cross is the Crux constellation, the Southern Cross. And it stays on that same degree for 3 days on the cross. The sun dies on a cross, and then on the 25th moves 1 degree northward, bringing back the summer, the light, the warmth, the growth of crops. And this is the sun being reborn again, a virgin, because it's pure. And here's Mithra, another sun god before Jesus was around, before Christianity. It was Mithraism, and Mithra, Ra is Ra, the sun god, Egypt. It's all about Ra, the sun. You see the crown of thorns on Jesus' head, symbolizing the rays of the sun. And here are the rays of the sun on the back of Mithra's head. Krishna, the sun. Buddha, the sun. Horus, horizon. All born virgins, all did miracles, all resurrected. Dead for 3 days. Well, here he is, dead for 3 days on the cross. And resurrected, because it's the most ancient religion ever been on the face of the earth, the worship of the sun. And we should worship the sun, because without the sun we are nothing. The sun feeds us, feeds the earth, feeds everything. Without the sun we are nothing. It's been reversed, and now we're worshipping man. When we're worshipping a man called Jesus, was never real. It's all about the sun, the most high, the most powerful, potent, celestial body in the sky, the orb that feeds us every day. It dies for our sins and rises every day. It's the Son. Now on the Holy Communion Day, it's the worship of the Son. They give out many sons. Here's Jesus holding a son. And they raise the sun on Sunday because they go to worship their sun god on Sunday. Not Saturn Day, not Moon Day, Monday, but on Sunday when the sun is exalting. And they hold suns up above their heads because the sun rises. They're symbolizing the sun rising above their heads as Savior. It's the Son. It's the Holy Communion Day. And here's Jesus giving a piece of himself to the children. It's the Son, the light. Judas was known as a backbiter, a backstabber, because he stabbed Jesus in the back. He betrayed Jesus. Well, this is just another astrological story about the constellation Scorpio, because the Scorpio is the J. Looks like a J. J for Judas, the scorpion, the backbiter. Scorpions backbite. They bite with their back. And what does Judas do? He betrays Jesus by kissing him to let the warriors know who they need to get. So he kisses Jesus and Jesus gets stabbed in the back. Well, when you get stung or bit by a scorpion, they leave like a kiss. So Judas kisses him and gets betrayed. Well, this is because the sun, when it hits Libra, it's balanced. The sun is balanced because it comes through summer. Now the sun's starting to die. The sun's starting to die. It hits Libra. And then as soon as it hits the Scorpio, it gets betrayed because now the sun has to fall to winter. And Saturn is there waiting to take over the darkness of the winter. So he gets stabbed in the back by Scorpio, Judas, the scorpion, the backstabber. You see, it's an astrological story. Here's Mary. Mary means marry, which means pure. The sun is pure. No one gave birth to the sun but the God. And it's born every day. It's born every day on every year. It's born pure. There was no controversy. There was no, activity for the sun to be born. It's pure. Now, the 7 metals come from the 7 planets. The sun gives you gold, and this is why the sun is golden. It looks gold. And this is why the banks are backed by gold, because gold is the most valuable metal, because it's the sun, the most valuable celestial orb in the sky, in the heavens. Well, here's Jesus, another ancient symbol of him being crucified on the cross with the big sun, the Southern Crux constellation. The sun dies on the cross constellation. And if you go to the old etymology dictionaries, you will see sun and son is the same word. They come from the same etymology roots. You can use them for no matter what, but they've been confused today. But if you go back to the old dictionaries of etymology, they are interchangeable. You can use them. Son, sun, sol, it's all the same thing. The 12 disciples, 12 brothers of Joseph, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 breastplates on the stones, because it's all the 12 astrological signs. They could have used any other number, but there's 12. Because 12 is the mind, which is God. 7 is the number of matter, which is man. 7 energy centers in the body. 12 cranial nerves in the brain, because it's the mind. 12 is the 12ness. The zodiac is literally the mind of God, the signs of God. Now here we see here, Job 38, 31 to 33. Can you lead forth a constellation in the season? He's asking you, can you read the sky? Can you read the heavens? Canst thou bring forth the Mazzaroth in its season? Mazzaroth means 12 signs, the zodiac. Why did they translated every single Hebrew word in the Bible into English, but they decided to leave out Mazzaroth? Why? It's because if that said zodiac, Christians would have a different view on the Bible, but they leave that out. But Mazzaroth actually means the 12 signs, the zodiac, and the stars means sign. The word stars means sign because the stars are signs, things to come, which is off in Hebrew, which means sign, things to come. You see a sign on the road, it's something coming. But God is saying, no, what does he say? To qualify as a director, a judge of man's life on earth, one must be able to govern the heavenly bodies that rule the earth. It's telling you to read the heavens. We need to read the heavens. Astrology, the 12 zodiac signs, the mind of God. It's telling you, read the Mazzaroth, read the zodiac, because they are things to come in your life. They are signs. It's not satanic, it's made by God. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs. Signs are things to come. The 12 zodiac signs. It's all about astrology. Here's Mary holding the sun. His son, her son. It's the sun in the sky. The one and only, the most high. The soul, the solo because it's on its own. The most powerful, Ra, radiance. Here's the Pope holding the sun. All three popes holding the sun, because they're sun worshippers and they know the true meaning and origins behind Christianity. Sun worship. Here's the Vatican. The Vatican is a sundial. Yes, this is literally a clock. Your clock, your watch is a sundial. It's got 12 sections on it for the 12 zodiac signs. 12 hours, 12 Horuses. Now here you see Jesus walking on water. Well, it's the sun, and here's the beard of the sun. Here's the pyramid of the sun, the illuminated one, the all-seeing eye, the sun. Here's the Ankh. The sun creates these symbols. The ancients knew this. Now, when you see these headdresses, these are actually the days of precession of the sun. Aries, Cancer, Libra. It's all about the sun. Here's some more sun worship going back to Egypt. Ra, Horus, Osiris, and Set. Jesus and Satan is Horus and Set. The sun and Saturn. Saturn rules the winter, Satan. Jesus, the sun, the light of the world, rules the summer, rules the day. Satan's the night, Saturn's the night, the sun is the day. The evil brother, Satan.